Welcome back, everybody, to MSI 2017 Play-ins live from Sao Paulo, where I'm joined by the Red Cannons. Dude just won the game, but unfortunately knocked out of the tournament and not into the next round. Talk me through kind of the day, as it was very up and down. A lot on the line for you guys, but you guys just fell short.
Yeah, that was do or die for us today. We had to win everything to make it through. Unfortunately, we lose the second game. We lost it. That was very close, but I had a very poor performance. So I guess that was kind of bad, but we had to make it through. We had to win Supermassive to prove that we can beat it. Even though we don't make it, we are still happy with the result of the end of the day, but could have been better for sure.
Well, could have been better, but you personally also didn't have the best year last year, but now you guys won the championship. You got to come here at least, so I feel like there's a lot of promise in this team. Is that also what you feel?
Yeah, it's only been 3 months that we have been together. I can see a lot of potential in terms of skill and in terms of mindset in my team. So I'm very proud to be here with them because they are very friendly and they are a good worker. And I hope we are going to make it until the world.
Unfortunately for this tournament, it ends here for you guys. Can you reflect kind of the strength of the group and just the strength of Supermassive? Because it does seem that they have what it takes, maybe even to make it into the main event.
No, I think they had the surprise on us about the Galio pick. That's the only strong point they had, I think. I don't know if they underestimated our pick on the last game with the Twitch. I don't know. But I wish them best of luck, and yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I understand they might be disappointed. Are you going to make a trip to Rio to see the main event and check out? No, it's over here for you. Well, thank you very much indeed, and good luck in the upcoming tournaments and the next CBLOL season as well. Thank you, dude. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Valiant effort out of the Brazilian squad here in the play-ins, just narrowly missing that first place slot. But they should, I think, be proud about the showing that they put up here at the tournament as a whole. But if we turn our attention to our final game of the day, we've got another one that does not necessarily have any effect on the standings of the tournament, as has been discussed. Supermassive does qualify for the next round of the play-ins. So that means my question to you guys is, what do you want to see? What are you looking for either out of these teams or out of the tournament as a whole here on our final game of day 3?
Earlier in the last exhibition match, we had a Twitch, we had a Casio, and we had a Fizz, right? So they were clearly building an animal composition. However, I feel that they were a little incomplete. So I've prepared some ready. So
Hit me with the list.
We've got a Volley Bear. Volley Bear, he does speak pretty good English. However, he still falls under the animal category. We've also got a Nidalee. A little bit of debate around that one because she does turn into a human. However, I still feel that if she spends the majority of time in her cat form, we could very well have a full animal lineup. But now, I can see you're wondering, if they're going to build a full animal composition, who is their opposition going to be?
I'm just concerned because there's like 135 champions in our game, and half of them are animals. And I mean, we don't have that much time. So if you're about to go through an exhaustive list of animal champions that you want to see on the Rift here, I'm going to go ahead and stop you and turn to Stress. Stress, what would you like to see in the game coming up here?
If I wanted to build an animal composition right now, okay, so in reality, I think there's a lot of enjoyment to be had when you're watching things like the Twitch and that kind of thing. Again, there's no kind of beating around the bush that on this. It's not like they're playing games next week where practicing a composition against an opponent is going to do too much. But I think playing comfort picks, I want to see some of the players in their element where there is no pressure. Maybe you're picking something a little different, like whether it's the Azir that we've seen previously out of the Direwolves. I know it's not exciting to bird. Look,
I guess my opinion is there's two routes to go, right? You either stick with purely comfort champions. This is just the champion I want to play to put up my best performance on an international stage and show the world what I am capable of, or we as a team are capable of. The other approach would be, let's play something that people don't normally see. Let's put on a show for our fans. Let's test the limits of what the current meta allows. As I say that, the teams are about ready to get into games, so I'm going to waste no more time. Send it over to Fish and Rusty, because you guys are probably sick of us by now.
Thank you very much, Dash. Not so much. So Vedius had a really good point about animals. I was getting quite into what he thought the lineups were going to be.
Definitely not me too. I mean, if we see them, then kudos. I will bow down to Venice's. No, it was fantastic. He's right. There's going to be a lot of fun had this game, and they're examples of champions that they may be using because the champions are fun. So we'll have to see where they go.
Well, let's see if these two teams turn into zookeepers here, as we're about to get into the final match of today. And the final match for Group A. It's going to be Rampage taking on the Direwolves. And unfortunately, these two teams have already locked in their place in Group A. Direwolves will be finishing third. Rampage will be, unfortunately, finishing last. But they have a chance to get a single win here, Rusty, by getting revenge against the Wolves.
Yeah, there is a chance for the LJL side to get a single victory here, and that really just bodes the question of, you know, it's an exhibition match. Sure, everyone has now set the premise that this may not mean anything for the teams, but how much do Rampage want a victory? How hungry are they? 0-5. It really does tarnish the record to finish the tournament 0-6. They may take this legit.
And they've been completely opposite this tournament. Direwolves, shaky start, only ramping up to become stronger and stronger, especially when the games did not matter. Rampage, complete opposite. Their first two games looked amazing, and then it was just all downhill from there after their final match against the Direwolves on day one.
I mean, the real tragedy as well is if you contrast Group A and B and you think that Group A is stronger, there's a chance that you put either of these teams in the opposing group, they might have been able to take out more victories, but as it stands, here we are.
And unfortunately, we have a couple of animals being banned from the zoo already, as a catfish, as well as a hamster, and a tree as well, for good measure, being taken off the table. Talon is the final ban that came up from Rampage. Target towards Fantix, who's had 2 games on the champion already in this tournament. Brand and Lee Sin have been banned out by the Direwolves.
Yep, they've definitely banned a type of sandwich. So we're going to have the Graves locked in first from Rampage.
Type of sandwich? Where'd the sandwich
BLT.
go? Oh, BLT.
Are you alright?
Oh, goodness sake. Graves has been locked in for Rampage. That's their jungle of choice. I'm moving on from that. Karma is going to be the support of choice for Destiny, who has been playing much better since he's been taken off the Lulu, as you suggested, Rusty.
Yep, unfortunately this time around, they do still have to concede the Graves, and that is the big one that stands out. You will still get a good bottom lane here from the Direwolves. It's nice to see them break away from the Ezreal. They will still commit to the Karma. We're not going to see the Lulu, as you mentioned, for reasons before.
And this means that Rampage do have a chance to pick up, you know, Ashe with another support, or even potentially go towards the Caitlyn Lulu.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the Lulu themselves, right? If Karma's the higher preference here from the side of the Direwolves, the choice is still there. The pick of the litter for the bottom lane duo for Rampage is still going to be present. They know what they're against, and they can pick accordingly.
Still a ton of AD carries to go through. Ashe has been banned out throughout most of the tournament. I've only seen a couple of games of her. Caitlyn's only the pick to go with Lulu, but instead, Yutori is going to be picking up Lucian as his bottom lane pick of choice.
Yeah, going for the Lucian. He knows it is against a Karma, and he knows it is against a Varus. Not exactly the best duelist champion against Karma is going to be Lucian, but if you're a really good player, you've got a lot of confidence in your support here. So Yutori, you're going to be trusting Dara, and it's a lot of the onus, honestly, does fall towards Yutori to make the trades, but to have the Lulu supporting.
Final pick is going to be for the Direwolves, and they lock in Fizz. Nice and early, should be Chippy's top lane champion pick of choice, but can be flexed for Fantix if he really wants to.
Absolutely.
Which means Jungle Pool could be pinched quite heavily here by Rampage if they choose to do so.
Yeah, Ivern, Lee Sin taken away. Graves already locked in. One team has a jungler. It does make sense to start banning junglers perhaps away from their opponents, but does it matter what you take away from Shamfire? Do they even know what he's capable of playing? Kha'Zix is still there. Elise is still there. You can branch out from that point and play some different champions.
And I think that's what the two bans would be if they were going towards Jungle Pool bans, but instead, Rampage have gone for an Echo ban to kick things off against Fantix, which means Syndra is potentially on the table here unless Direwolves decide to ban it out.
And in the back of my mind, Galio is still a champion that we need to look at through the rest of this draft phase. Yes, there's a high chance that mid laners should be focused here with the Taliyah, taking away champions that Ramune has looked very good on. But just keep that Galio in the back of your mind.
Taliyah was the first ban that came out for the Direwolves as well. 20 seconds for Rampage to pick up their final ban here against the Wolves, and Syndra is that ban of choice. Which is interesting after banning out Echo.
Now we expect a jungler to be locked in here by the Direwolves in response. They shouldn't have to reveal if the Fizz is a flex. It could go mid, it could go top, but you never really know where they're going to go with this one. They might want to counter pick, which doesn't make sense. It's already locked in, the jungler.
Let's see what the pick of choice is going to be for the Direwolves. Mid lane and jungle most likely the two left picks here, as Oriana is picked up for Fantix in the mid lane. So this should be a top lane Fizz. I mean, seen crazy things of Shamefire picking up, but with that ignited teleport, it's definitely going to be Fizz heading into the top lane.
Just means there's a higher priority on taking the Oriana away from Rampage. So by locking in the Ori, they ensure that there isn't another shield that can go on and can protect Yutori Moyasi on his Lucian. Instead, though, they will go the assassin route.
And there's that Galio pick coming out for Rampage. As the final pick of choice. That will be Evi's champion in the top lane against Fizz.
And this is my favorite duo, honestly, watching it happen on Summoner's Rift, is Ari locked in with Galio as the second rotation. They change it up a little bit, and that combo is so aggressive, it always goes forwards, and it's just great to watch, honestly, unfold.
Still waiting to see what the final pick for the Direwolves is going to be. Is a jungler for Shenfire, most likely. Kha'Zix or Elise really makes the most sense for the team, and Kha'Zix it is for Shenfire. Going to go aggressive in the final game for the team at MSI.
Yeah, Elise further down the magic damage route. They've already got a Fizz, Orianna, and a Karma, so they choose a bit more physical damage, honestly, for Shenfire. The Kha'Zix doesn't have the same amount of crowd control. It doesn't necessarily have the wave clear that a Graves does from the side of Tussle here for Rampage, but can go from red, can get a good leash on the Raptors if he wants, and try and keep up with the early stages. It's more what happens with the first gank, or does he even get a gank off?
Yep, so unfortunately not too many animals in this game for Vedia. It's just a fish, a bug, and half a fox as well in there.
And a gargoyle?
Gargoyle? Yeah, that's more of a stone, I guess.
Yeah, it's not really an animal. It's an animated object.
Yeah, so Vedius doesn't get his zoo today. Maybe come back tomorrow. Might happen. But it seems like both the teams are taking it fairly serious into this last game. They both really want to pick up a win. Almost as if they still have something to prove. They don't want to go out on a loss here. Rampage definitely want to pick up a win. They had chances to do so against some of the top teams in this group, but dropped it both times in day one. Direwolves completely shaky start, looking to try and turn that around with 2 wins here today.
And that's the thing, right? Like, both of these teams do still have something to prove for their own regional pride. Rampage definitely want to win. They want to be on the board, and Direwolves at least have a better second half showing. 2 wins on the second round of the tournament does still speak strongly of them as a team right now. So coming into this game, you'd expect something a little bit more aggressive, but not in the crazy aggressive route that we saw from game number 5 just before.
Best part about this is we've already seen the crowd cheer for both these teams once today, but I have a feeling most of the audience will be behind Rampage today to try and get some revenge against the Direwolves, who are able to play spoiler and knock out the Red Canids from this tournament. As we do head on to Summoner's Rift for the 6th and final game of today.
Yeah, I think unfortunately the Direwolves have made some temporary enemies of the Brazilian fans at the moment just because they eliminated the side. So we'll see where they cheer, hopefully for everybody. We know the crowd in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, is honestly fantastic. They just love League of Legends as much as we do.
They certainly do. But we are on to the Rift for this final match, and already Rampage invading quite aggressively in towards the Raptor camp of the Direwolves red side of the jungle, just getting a very early ward down on towards the Raptors.
Yeah, it looks like they're actually collapsing. They have been spotted, as the observers have just showed us, with the ward there, so Direwolves getting some early vision, and a little bit more.
Shenfire is going to get jumped on here, taking quite a bit of damage. Tussle has been sped up. Pops Shenfire's potions. Both of them have been used here.
And it's at 120 into the game, so there's no option to actually recall here. He'll use both of those potions. He'll go over and start in the jungle, most likely spotted by, again, Rampage's vision. Speaking of vision, they don't have any of the Direwolves right now as they are watching these Raptors.
So Tussle's going to get a nice leash. Here they go. Tussle going to take quite a bit of damage here. Does hit level 2.
He managed to get every single one of those next to a Varus and a Karma hitting him. That's a lot of health. That's basically the potion difference between junglers eradicated, but they don't get the experience they wanted.
Thank you very much, King and Destiny. Your job is done. We thank you for leashing the jungle. That was not quite what you were meant to do, but oh well.
I mean, they got a lot of damage onto Tussle. Destiny made some bank with his spell thieves.
Quite a big leash as well. They had Ari, they had Galio, all the way from top lane.
That is true.
Giving a lot of help towards Tussle, who is, I mean, the team that's built around this jungle. It makes sense that everyone's piling on in to help him.
Bottom lane's definitely one of the places to look, though, for the Direwolves when they win. They usually win bottom.
Yutori's able to hit level 2 nice and early against King and Destiny. Dashes in, gets a good trade against King. We did check in with the top side of the map, though. Galio against Fizz. Fairly even right now. Both of them starting with Corrupting Potion, but always remember, Fizz does take Ignite on Summoner's Rift. That's a lot of damage onto Ramune. Again, King trading with Yutori here. This time a little bit better.
Yeah, of course, the Lucian being the aggressor, trying to make sure that he's able to put down the preliminary amounts of damage, as Shenfire is in an epic battle with a jungle camp.
Blue Buff's not happy. We will be able to take this one down with ease, though. Loses quite a bit of his health. Did get a decent clear throughout the jungle, and now looking to see if he can take down Scuttle Crab as well.
Yeah, look, he got a decent clear, but it means that his health's going to be lacking just based on how he had to start in the jungle himself. You compare that to Tussle, walking right now, invading, completely full health with double buff. Shern's relying on that red buff regeneration to get him up to scratch. It is working, and he is coming down towards bottom lane right now.
So Tussle goes to take down Krugcamp, and Schönfire wants to make an impact into this lane. Destiny flashing on forward, exhausts Yutori, does not get the second proc on the tether. Now Schönfire's going to jump in onto Tara, burning another flash. They try to turn around. Schönfire is very low. Yutori now going back on in.
They are winning this trade 2v3 right now, Rampage. They forced Direwolf's jungler to go back to base, probably.
But Schönfire makes sure that Rampage below 4 summoners bottom lane, where only Destiny was forced to use his summoners there.
The only unfortunate thing you would have to say, Destiny, you're meant to get the tether on before you flash forwards. You flash and hit the tether. The response from Yutori was to just use his own respectively, and he gets out of the distance. If that latch had connected, then King may have been able to go forwards, be aggressive. You are correct in that only the 2 summoners were used for Direwolf, so that is still a win, but it could have been potentially more.
So we do move into the mid lane where already Fantix is pushing out quite aggressively. Evie has a massive minion wave that will crash on towards Chippy's turret. Dodges out the uppercut coming out from Evie, who slowly walks the wave into the turret itself. Yutori still being aggressive in this bottom lane. King does get 3 procs from his W, but poked out quite hard here by Yutori.
Yeah, there's no potions left for King, to be honest. They're both starting long swords. Yutori does still have pots with the long sword of his own, so he's in a strong position, a winning position in the 2v2 in this lane, and this is where Destiny comes into play. He's got some mana, not a lot of health, but enough mana to try and help secure the minion wave control, or at least reset it so they can't get damage to structures, allow Direwolves to go back to base, reset one more time.
None of these players have potions down at the bottom lane now, except for Destiny, who still has 1 biscuit. But Rampage, Tussle, as well as Ramune, now trying to make their way in towards Schönfire's jungle. Ari has yet to be spotted, but will head back towards the mid lane.
Yeah, Graves also accruing a pretty nice CS advantage. This all comes back to how the game started, remember, but by being able to stay full health, go through the jungle clear, Schönfire also wasting some time, so to speak, with a gank in the bottom lane. Means that you would expect Graves hit 6 first with the big CS advantage. She should actually break away with an item lead, Tussle. And as he hits 6, people will die.
Destiny missed the Q there, so did not spot out that Yutori and Dara were baiting them to push out. We get a good chunk of damage on towards King. Again, making sure that if he does go back to base, it's going to be a bad and awkward position for his wave, as well as the fact that now he has to sack a lot of CS in this lane.
And this is a cannon wave, and so he doesn't want to go back to base for this one. But having the heal, having the summoner advantage means that he's in a position where he can be slightly more risky, mostly because Schönfire is going to be nearby to actually stop any kind of gank out of Tussle. That's what counts the most.
In the first game we saw the Direwolves play today, they did have a prolonged 3v3 bottom lane with both junglers trying to help out their AD carries, but this time round with Graves top side of the map, Schönfire could have gone down, decided not to. So it might be Tussle who now helps out the Rampage bottom lane.
And we're just waiting for that first little break point out of both of these teams. We've seen the laning start so far out of Chippies and Evie. There's not a lot of damage that can really be done to each other up there. We've seen the jungle advantage ever so slightly towards Tussle, but Schönfire has tried to gank. Was not successful. Mid lane, lots of pressure. Fantix has had control of the minion wave, but that starts to actually be removed a little bit as time goes on. So right now we watch junglers, we watch if supports get some freedom, some time to roam around the map perhaps, and actually make a difference.
Tussle was spotted out by Ward as he blast code over the side of that Dragon Pit. Zevi does get locked down by Chippies, ignites it as well. Wants to go for the kill, and Schönfire is up here as well. Easy first blood picked up by the Direwolves.
No flash used by Evie. The fish connects. I think he disrespected the damage cutting out of that Fizz just a little bit more. Surprisingly enough, Chippies gets Fizz again, and now he's able to work with Schönfire, secure that kill. This is the duo of the Direwolves, allowed to be the duo that has given them wins.
And unfortunately, the only saving grace is that Chippies did not pick up that kill, so the double rings aren't going to stack as fast. Nevi will be forced to use teleport to get back into lane here. Chippies will be happy to walk on back. That's the fighting mid lane picked up as Fantix has been jumped up by Ramune. Tussle throws out the ultimate as well. That does not connect. Schönfire is waiting just in case he tries to dash aggressively forward again. But instead, just pushes in the wave, make sure it resets in Ari's favor.
Was the summoner spell trade ultimately with ultimates also used by Ramune and Fantix. The difference being the tussle throughout the collateral damage, trying to find the cheeky kill towards the end there. He doesn't find it, and so now there's just 2 ultimates used, and still, only the 1 kill to be seen, but that is advantage to Direwolves, mostly because, again, the CS lead that Tussle had doesn't matter anymore. First blood is a bigger deal. Pressure in the top lane too, actually, is something that needs to be noted as well. Bottom.
Down towards Yutori, level 5 to level 6. Dara dashes on in as Lucian's hits 6 as well, gets the culling leveled up. King down to below half health, and Destiny in some trouble. Well, it looked like a good position for the Direwolves. Bottom lane turned disastrous as Yutori picks up a level.
Threatening a dive, perhaps, with Tussle being nearby, but he's immediately spotted, so good awareness from the Direwolves to try and keep that from happening. The second blue buff is the real reason that Tussle was invading, though. Going for the dive would have been rather opportunistic. We're still starting to see more signs of aggression, more opportunities for these teams to start hitting structures.
King trying to regenerate as much health as possible. Does have that Vamp sector as well as the recurve bow. Decides not to go for the the Bilgewater Cutlass, which we do see picked up by Yutori instead.
Yeah, opting more towards the attack speed route, so trying to get more of the on-hit procs with his spell usage to match some trades, perhaps equalizing the spell trading that a Lucian would excel at. Has the natural attack speed bonus anyway, Yutori on the Lucian, with the double tap. Could be a way of compensating, could just be a personal preference.
Both junglers also donate blue buff over towards their respective mid laners. Fantix and Ramune have been very even in this mid lane. Trading summoner for summoner from time to time. Chippies moves back up into the top lane. He's yet to go back to base after picking up his phage, but has sent Evie back another time. Immediately going for the ninja tabbies to make sure he can mitigate a lot of the damage that will come out from King, Shernfire, and Chippies.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a fair amount of mixed damage that comes out of Chippy, so rushing the armor boots doesn't outright save him, but he is a Galio who has a giant shield of magic damage that is just going to be there passively on his kit, the blue health there. So he can go towards armor and still have enough magic, perhaps damage absorption, that he'll be okay in these trades, and it's definitely built for the team composition, as you mentioned.
Chippies will slowly push in that lane again, heads back to base. There's a deep ward bottom, so there's always a chance that Direwolves pull the trigger and go for a heavy dive. Fantix gonna get jumped on by Ramune, trying to dodge out the charm, still holding on to it. Doesn't even need to use it because the brute force of Rampage is enough.
Yeah, fortunately for Fantix in particular, very well done from Rampage. Hold the charm and you'll make somebody juke until they die for it. So basically ran into Rampage to try and sombrero shockwave. Doesn't have the flash. Well executed, honestly, from the Ahri and the Graves.
And there you go, 6 men on the side of the Rampage here, as expected. It was silent when Direwolves picked up first blood, but they want revenge for what happened to the Red Cannons. And Direwolves looking like they want to try and feed the crowd almost, make sure they get that revenge at least today.
Not a lot of people are raising their koalas right now because they played spoilers. Rampage finally getting a kill back on the board, having a slight gold advantage, setting themselves up a little bit more cleanly in this game. This isn't a Red Cannon supermassive show match. This is actually a game. Feels like it means a lot.
Oh, Evie, they're getting dived here by Chippies. A very easy solo kill, and even shouts of no coming out from the crowd as he dies.
A tragedy for Evie. This is the second death of the game for him. The first one involves Shernfire, but only barely. The second one now just Chippies of his lonesome, able to secure that. That is a big fizz that is going to start rampaging around the rift. Ignore that pun. I did not mean that.
All right, if you say so.
We get to see the kill on the top lane. Anyway, Chippies honestly is just bad enough at this point. Grasp the Undying proc also going to be there. And as he charges, just stopped short, hit an invisible wall called Death.
Now Yutori looking to get some good damage on towards King in the bottom lane. Chips him down to about 250 health. Dara and Yutori have been having a fine time in this lane. Yutori is 20 CS up.
Whoa, he got it.
Trying to pull the trigger to Yutori here. Shernfire's down in this lane. Destiny will exhaust him. Good wild crow from Dara. Keeps his AD carry safe.
Yep, 2 summoner spells used. The ultimate also. So Rampage's bottom lane 2v2-wise may not have as much pressure. However, the damage was done onto King. He doesn't have a lot of health to his own name. No ultimate himself, so there'll be a recall out of the Varus after clearing this set of minions. And we get to reset. Compliments of Shernfire simply just being down here. For what it's worth, still good movements out of the Direwolves jungler at the right place at the right time. We'll get spotted by mid lane minions though.
And still in this mid lane, it was dead even, but Rumine has created a CS lead for himself, even though it's 1-2 in favor of Rampage, but it's 1-2 in favor of the Direwolves, which does kind of tell us why the gold is still even between these two teams, despite CS leads mid and bottom.
But where you look at where the favor actually lies, it is towards the top side of the map for the Direwolves, whereas the bottom lane is still doing quite well, as well as Ramune in this middle lane on the Ahri. So there's still strong points to work around.
Good taunt coming out from Evie there.
Still wins the trade. Actually quite well.
He's got a couple of items picked up now already.
That's the thing with Galio, a lot of base damage. For someone who builds all resistances, Vision next.
Shernfire's top side of the map. There is a flash available for Evie. Does taunt up Chippies, but not Shernfire. Suddenly Tussle joining the fight as well. Throws out the collateral damage. Shernfire is low. Evie throws out the tornado, but it's not enough. Smokescreen as well. Uppercut into the fish. And Chippy's playful tricksters out of this taunt as well. Blue suede shoes from the Direwolves.
Unfortunate stuff for Evie though, flashing forwards, trying to throw down the tornado, not locking the kill, but as you can hear, it's still a positive sign and the crowd seems to be happy about it.
Direwolves though, going for a 3-man gank bottom lane. It's a surprise King, Destiny, and Fantix, but the chains whiff, the field goal is good, and Rampage get a free turret top lane.
That's exactly right, it means they get the structure, it also means Oriana has to go back and deal with mid lane. Not a lot to speak of here for the Direwolves in a good way, not at all.
Oh, this trade's going down in the bottom lane. Wow, Ramune is already working on this turret. Seems like King's gonna fall straight away. We can't quite look at the action. What's going on?
Apparently a kill as they are still going. Chippies is also down here. They want Yutori.
Yeah, teleports as well. No ultimate available for Chippies, but does have Ignite. Decides not to chase any further forward after using that playful trickster. So Rampage take down King there.
They get one, they get out. They're able to actually just secure that one cleanly. So once again, credit to the bottom lane of Rampage in what was basically just the 2v2, responding to the fact that Fantix was down there. He leaves lane, and just like this, the action goes forward. King doesn't have the ultimate, gets turned into a critic. Good awareness from Dara. Does not use it to empower the attack speed of the Lucian because you don't need to with the double tap. So use it offensively, take down some bad guys.
Dara and Yutori dashing together at the exact same time in order to pick up that kill against King and Destiny. The synergy between these two is phenomenal. And King and Destiny, again, kind of defaulting back to the poor synergy they had at day one.
Junglers are about to collide, it looks like. Shern knows. Oh,
Shern goes for it.
Oh, he wants
Invisible, gets half his health in damage, goes Invisible again.
Oh.
Easy pickup for Shernfire. Tussle didn't even know what hit him.
Evolves the Q, comes in invisible as well. The ward able to spot out where Tussle is. Did not expect Shernfire to actually go forwards, it seems. And now another kill onto this Kha'Zix. He is well and truly evolving into a massive carry.
We see Direwolves initiate a lane swap against Rampage as well, sending King, Destiny, and the rest of the squad towards top side of the map, looking to take down this top lane outer.
It was matched by Rampage. They've acknowledged this is where they want to be, but they've been completely cut off because, again, the Graves has gone down. So this forced lane swap out of Direwolves is the correct move. It takes longer for Evie to get the structure down. You'd have to expect that he does. Chippies doesn't have teleport. It's just going to be a slow, arduous process. This is where you actually look at the Direwolves and you say, is there an extra trade you can make? Is there something you can get to just get a lead from this? Or are we just trading the same thing?
Seems like they're just going to trade. Evie still has teleport and Chippies was forced to recall. Let's pick up this wave later on.
Now, Rift Herald was definitely something they could have looked at, but it's not that worth it if they really wanted to go for it. You know, 17 minutes is a good time in the game, perhaps, to commit to it.
And there's something about this Brazilian crowd and cheering for top laners, because Evie's getting a lot of cheers for picking up a turret.
It's Evie in particular. They like Evie. What a bloke.
Big gargoyle, massive thing.
A cracker of one.
Rampage still have a small gold lead for themselves in this match, but 18 minutes in, not that big of a lead.
Yeah, still damage item spikes on the side of Direwolves as well. Trinity Force Stun, Warrior's Enchantment, Morello's, Blade of the Ruined King. All of these items are a really good timing for fighting. If you were the Direwolves, yes, there is a slight edge for Rampage, but is that enough when the items are still there?
They have swapped again. Will Romani find them out? Chippy sees them, gets a shield from Destiny. Swift might have spotted them out. The evolved spikes will slow down Rampage as he is trying to work on this turret. Evie still has teleport. Rampage currently have numbers advantage because Fantix has yet to rotate.
He was nearby, but not quite enough. Yutori was also near the middle lane, so the numbers advantage was null and void. They're still pressuring, they're still looking towards this. Schönfire hits level 11 and does not go towards those wings. Just wants to kill people and slow them down with his void spikes.
Evie does it again, continues pushing top side of the map. Make sure the Winnie Wave crashes into the turret. Chippies will head up there and collect what is remaining of that CS, and his teleport will be back up shortly. So the map is well and truly reset at the moment, with the only thing really separating the two teams is that single kill that's in the Direwolf's favor.
Oh, hello.
The turret that's incredibly low. Evie fancies a piece of Schönfire, gets the uppercut and the ground and pound as Yutori
He's in a bit of
tries
trouble.
his best. Here comes the Gargoyle though, knocks him back up. Shockwave brings back two, but Yutori avoids it. And he's able to take down Chippy.
Tussle kill King.
What just happened? Rampage just tore apart the Direwolves across the map.
Fantix actually just like hit orbit with the height of that Galio. They want Destiny.
No, Destiny flashing over the pit, but finds a wild Zara. Tries to tether him, but Tussle's there to take him down. And Japan looking to try and get revenge for the Red Cannons.
So PL side just randomly play. Oh, they're going.
Oh no, Fantix is next. Uppercut from Evie. Yutori trying to dash on in, takes a bit of damage, and the Fox is trying to slide away in as well. Tussle is there. The whirlwind comes through. One more uppercut would be enough, but it's the shotgun from Tussle that gets a killing spree.
And he gives it over to his jungler. Now they siege the middle lane turret. Schönfire's top lane, no response going to be there. Could even be the Drake afterwards if they choose. Once again, it's not just Evie this time, it's Rampage that they're chanting. We get to see how this kill happens in the bottom lane. Note that Tussle's also coming down. Ramune had used his ultimate already, but is still hitting everything. Pretty much a solo 1v2 kill there from the Ahri. Homage to the crowd.
And still, again, no idea what King and Destiny were trying to do down in that bottom lane. King was taking damage for free, trying to move up towards a turret. They had no vision of Tussle as well, trying to wrap around the back lines.
Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. They just really want the turret. The tenacity of the OPL side, if nothing else, is admirable. They've set themselves a win condition, and they still want it.
You say, I'd say a bit silly here, but they're trying to dive in on towards Evie. It's been about 10 seconds. He's only taken half his health with damage, but will eventually fall as it takes 3 members of the Wolfpack.
Meanwhile, pushing mid lane. They still want to get the structures themselves. Now we're trading mid lane inners for bot lane outers. Not exactly the ideal scenario.
Fantix trying to clear out the wave. Schönfire is here as well. The charm connects. That's going to be a bug that gets squashed. And Fantix misses the shockwave on top of that.
The skirts around the rim of the shockwave. They're still looking towards mid lane, but finally reinforcements have arrived from Direwolves. Fantix, even though he doesn't have the shockwave, might have enough wave clear to actually prevent the turret, but it's unlikely.
Doesn't seem like it. Yutori's going to dash on in aggressively as well. Charm connects. Marune gets good damage down. Fantix is dead. Tussle from Rampage is on a rampage.
And Ramune does not miss a charm at all. Yutori actually slowing him down with Blade of the Ruined King, so sets it up, but Ahri knocks it down. So fantastic stuff out of the Rampage roster.
Not only revenge for themselves, but for this home crowd that keep cheering them on. They want to win the screens. They want Rampage to win. Rampage wants to win. And again, this entire performance for the OPL team has just been such an up and down. One game, they look phenomenal, taking down the second best team in the group.
Welcome to the Oceanic roller coaster, ladies and gentlemen. Your guess is as good as mine sometimes.
Well, you never know if you can raise your koalas or suddenly bring them back down.
I like raising koalas.
That we know. We're checking with Yutori now. He's got his Black Cleaver as well as the Blade of Ruined King already picked up. A massive AD carry at this point in the game. Has a lot of support to help him out with the Galio. You've got Dara as well.
Still big item spikes respectively across from him as well, because as you mentioned, Black Cleaver, Blade of the Ruined King is the big item spike. His 4 went the little bit of a trough in between having to go Kindle Gem, but King still has 2 items himself respectively. The big advantage for me still lies with Ramune, where Fantix has no items really. He's got a Haunting, guys. He's got Sork Shoe, so his base magic penetration will still be there, but the damage of a Death Cap with the Morellos compared to that. If a charm hits, someone dies.
and Rampage have a 4,000 gold lead at the moment. Blade of the Ruined King's going to be picked up by Tussle.
There you go.
Fun item for Graves.
About the third time, I believe, in just this tournament that we've seen the Graves go for the Blade of the Ruined King build. I personally don't like it that much. I feel like Graves is a champion that benefits more from the raw AD, the raw crit, because of all of his spell abilities scaling really well with them.
Does remind me of the first time Graves was reworked, though, where lifesteal was really important on him. Just kept him alive so much longer. Daro's in a sticky situation. That's everything being used by the Direwolves to make sure they can lock down the Rampage support.
Yeah, sticky enough that he does actually die. Direwolves with that pick can start to threaten, but threatening this is impossible if Graves is nearby. Wave clears there. Eddie can engage with a flash taunt because the flash is up and ready. So Direwolves have to respect this. Even after Lulu dies, you still feel like Rampage can 4v5 and win.
Chippies is still split pushing for the Direwolves. So he'll slowly push out that wave on the bottom side of that. Now moving up to group with his team, spotted out by wards, placed down by Rampage. Direwolves
sieging, but Ari has a flank just above them.
They're going in. Sherfire's going to get locked down first. Takes quite a bit of damage, half his health. Chippy's now the next target. Yutori, man possessed, charging in without fear against the top lane Fizz. Omine though dashes in, dashes out, and misses everything, unfortunately.
Finally showing that gods can bleed. He misses a charm. Still playing extremely well, all things considered. They push Direwolves away from the structure, and Tussle, he wants it.
Got it! Tussle steals red buff from Sherfire.
Oh, and he's not done.
Now he wants Sherfire. Come back here, you bug! I want to squish you! We'll have Chippies there to try and help him out. Dara gives him the wild grove, turns Chippies into a critter. And Surefire's just baited his top laner into dying.
And like a good cooking show fish, here's a wave they prepared earlier. They're going to siege the top lane structure, coinciding with a red steal, with forcing Sherfire to base, and with Chippies going down. This is very well executed.
Here comes the Gargoyle. Evie looking for the taunt, just narrowly misses King and Destiny, and takes absolutely no damage for trying to go for that initiation.
King opting not to use his ultimate to secure him either. They would not have been able to kill Evie, especially with Dara nearby to shield him up and all of the damage surrounding him. As Evie's got a good position here.
Gets the taunt onto Sherfire, uppercut as well. Yutori gets the latter end of the culling, but doesn't deal enough damage there. We did check in with the goal. You see 2,000. Oh, never know, body. Yutori's going to go down. Evie does come in and get a good knockup, but suddenly the Direwolves are going to collapse. Yutori does flash over the wall.
Oh, he jumped into the fish.
He's still going to get chased down here, but Direwolves not going to be able to get to the blast cone in time. Chippies is able to take it down. Now Direwolves might be able to swing this one around if they can get Baron.
The irony of Justice Punch as well, jumping backwards before forwards into a Fizz as Rampage have revealed themselves.
Now it's time for the crowd to channel their inner Napon and allow Tussle to come in for the steal. He's going in. Can he do it? Direwolves are low. Ramune's going in. One by one, the Wolves are being torn apart. Barrett does get picked up by Sherfire, but can they escape? 3 members are dead. Fancies this nest. Sherfire's turned into a critter, but Rampage just concede the jungle and allow him to live to fight another day.
4 dead, but 1 Baron buff still remains from the Direwolves. However, credit where it's due to Rampage. They still come in, get those kills, and even with their top laner missing, they get the fight that they're after. They have the inside track. They can try and utilize this window of opportunity where people are dead from Direwolves to try and take down some structures.
Sherfire going back in for immunity, even though Dara is close by. Ramino first a flash away. Sherfire's going to go back here, but here comes Yutori. Pew, 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 pew. Takes him down and squashes the bug.
Yeah, Lucian, right place, right time. Picks up a blue buff for his troubles, and again, minion wave set up on the bottom lane. Rampage are doing pretty much everything right, barring a single pick, which gives Direwolves the Baron. But one mistake doesn't actually result in... Okay, he's going.
Wants blood. Gets the fish on towards Dara. Redemption's coming out as well, but Yutori is trying to defend Dara with his life. Dashes back into the team. Evie's here as well. Uppercut through the playful trickster. Destiny's going down. Dara saves Yutori. King can't quite land that arrow. Now he's stuck here as Evie charging up the taunt, making sure he can't get anywhere closer.
And you know there's no chance of killing that Galio when you are by yourself, so King has to let it go, even with his ultimate available. We get to see the fight again. Charms do not miss from Ramune when it matters. And Tussle unfortunately gets pushed out of the pit. He's too low. So the Barons is going to be secured. If Tussle was able to be forwards, perhaps be there. His smite was up, his smite was available. And Dara, good awareness. Once again, always using his W, always polymorphing people forwards instead of empowering his allies. He knows what his role is in this team.
Fantix needs a QSS. He was charmed by Ramune twice in that fight, once to kick it off.
Fantix needs more than a QSS at this stage.
He's got some pretty decent items, looking for a Void Staff next, but look at Schoenfeld trying to see if he can assassinate Ramune twice here. Now no teammates to help the Ari out, but pushes in the wave, backs off accordingly.
All of the carries from the side of Rampage are fed. That's the important part. Evi's still going to be a big tank on the Galio. Whereas you look at the carries on the side of Direwolves, they've got a 0-4 mid laner. Very unlike Fantix to have a performance such as this. It's not going well for him.
Don't even think, if I'm not mistaken, Direwolves don't even have their Baron buff available anymore after Schoenfeld got taken down.
Yep.
During that time, Rampage were able to pick up a Mountain Dragon for themselves. The second one of this game. The next one this one will be another Mountain Dragon.
Going to be a pretty poor Baron power play, you would have to imagine when you look at it.
Oof.
Rampage took the exact window of the Baron being taken to kill 4 of them, take down some more structures, an abundance of kills.
And kill Schoenfeld shortly after as well. 6,500 gold lead for Rampage.
Speaking of kills, Schoenfeld, Tussle and Schön are duking it out.
They're going to go for a fight again. Tussle says, all right, fight me. I've got Superman on my side. Shockwave connects on towards 2, but the Direwolves have to retreat towards their redemption after Chippy's Fish misses. Ultimate's burned by both teams, but neither side gets an advantage from that fight.
Tussle gets the red buff, so once again they're taking everything away from Schoenfeld, denying him level 16 also, just a little bit by getting these extra camps. So for what it's worth, may not mean a lot, but saves him having the reset.
Oh, Fantix has been jumped on. Tussle deletes him and it goes godlike. That's now Rampage without a power pushing. Oh, Ramuna, you're kidding me! What an absolute legend!
Someone stop this guy. The charms are just incredible from him right now. That's the inhibitor.
This
Rampage,
could be game.
They're still pushing.
They're going for the Nexus turrets. Rampage dropped their game to the Direwolves in day 1. They've charged King. They saw Direwolves take down Red Cannons, the hometown favorites, in the home crowd.
Gotta go, Chippies.
And now with the 6 men on their side, Rampage look to redeem themselves. They look for revenge, not only for themselves, but for Brazil, as they take down the Direwolves.
The crowd still loves them. Rampage, they get on the board. 1 win for Japan. You can see it should be smiles from the team because they get themselves, not just Brazil, a bit of redemption.
And rightfully deserved. After day 1, we said Rampage had 2 great games, almost taking down Supermassive and Red Cannons.
Look at the crowd. They love them.
And now they finally get their justices, taking down Direwolves as well. Finishing off, although last in the groups, with their heads held high once again. And although Direwolves played spoiler, they could not pick up 3 wins at this tournament.
No, they could not. Direwolves came into the tournament confident. We didn't hear a lot from Rampage. They're a quiet, happy team. That's exactly what they are now because the crowd loves them. They have every reason to be smiling. Honestly, bigger credit to Brazil as a crowd being able to support them in that particular time. Such a passionate crowd.
I mean, you have to. Especially in a game like this, doesn't really matter. You really want Rampage to win, you really want that revenge, and they got it, then they must be very happy with that as well. That's still Rampage. We're very hyped up coming into the tournament. They were the dark horse picks for Vedius as well as Mark Z. And they kind of showed us why, yes, they dropped their games, and we kind of expect that from a much newer region into League of Legends, but still, we're able to pick up the win here today and at least finish off with a win here. But for now, to give us their thoughts on Rampage and the win, and to close it today, let's hand it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. What a great way to end the day. Although, again, as was stated, the game itself didn't matter for the standings or the evolution of the tournament itself. To see both teams come out, have fun out there playing whatever champions they wanted, and then to have the Brazilian crowd backing both of these teams and just looking for an exciting game and cheering on the Rampage squad as they pick up their first win of the tournament was just great to see.
It's always got to feel bad when you finish last in your group and you probably didn't perform the way that you wanted to, But then when you end a tournament with a crowd like that, just shouting Rampage, Rampage, like, you just have to walk away with a smile on your face, right? Like, they had a really fun game. Like, it was a lot of great plays overall. The fact that, like, playing around the Baron, the way in which they outplayed a lot of individual opponents on the side of Dowers, it was just not only a fun game, but it's just got to raise your spirits as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think coming into today, they would have felt a massive amount of pressure. And of course, every team here is here to win, to get out of the groups. But once it's all done, and you're kind of just playing for a little bit of pride and a little bit of that boost at the end with the crowd must go quite a way now for these players at the end of the day, or at the end of their campaign.
And when it's all said and done, we have to remember once again that Rampage, although finishing with only win, was how close to finishing with 4, right? You know, again, if we recall day 1, 2 of those games entirely winnable. Today, 2 games entirely winnable. And so to that effect, remembering that, hey, on the day, on these international stages, games can be decided by minimal or tiny mistakes. You know, a misposition here, a misclick there. And so at a certain point, you can't put too much kind of weight behind the fact that, yes, we finished last in the group. We have to recognize that we had many opportunities to win, and that if we were to return to an international stage, we should expect ourselves to put up a similar kind of run, you know, and make a case for getting out of the group.
Yeah.
You just have to hope that you can grow from this, right? Like, I think the clear thing that we saw from Rampage this tournament was they were actually very good at finding skirmishes. As a team, they seemed to be coordinating well, but very rarely did they ever translate those early game team fight wins into any kind of objectives. Even earlier on when they were really putting the pressure on Supermassive, they barely could get themselves any kind of towers. So the reality is that if they were able to work on this issue, then perhaps coming into the next international event, they all look stronger. And
their opponents in that previous game, Tywolves, took a win off the CBLOL representative. So, like, there's still things for each team from this group that you can look at and say, hey, these are areas we did do well. These are areas that maybe we need to work on. And, you know, who knows, come this time in a couple of months when we're looking at Worlds qualifications, if these are all back in the same mix, then perhaps
I would love to see them all back here in 4 months, making a case for Worlds and a trip there. With our final game from Group A in the books, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings. Supermassive from the TCL will promote to the next round of the MSI play-in stage at 5-1. In round 2, they will face against either the North American representative, TSM, or the Flash Wolves from the LMS in a best-of-5 series. Those matchups will be determined after the conclusion of tomorrow's games in a random draw. For now, though, we're going to send it over to Shocks, who earlier today had an interview with Supermassive's Superstar Support.
Thank you very much, guys, and I'm very happy to be joined by Dumbledore. Supermassive, they made it, unfortunately, losing that last game versus Red Canids, but I don't think you're too worried about that. You guys made it to the next stage. How do you feel?
Well, I'm really happy we made it out of group. I'm so excited for next games. We will play against NA or LMS, and I'm just looking forward to it. I will try my best to win and make it to the Rio.
Yeah, well, it would be kind of a shame not to have you there. You've played 2 in a row. It seems like the Dumbledore special, but it's going to be a tall feat. I asked you on the first day what you wanted to do. You said, well, I want to beat NA, so I don't think it'll be a surprise who you'll pick, but who would you like to face and why?
Well, I rather play against NA because I watch NA LCS, and it's like a more familiar team for me, TSM. I know the players, I know the way they play, and LMS is like a deal more strange for me, so I will definitely choose NA.
Well, you don't have a lot of time. There's just a couple of days between now and the next one, so what's on the line here? How are you going to prepare? How are you going to make sure that you're super focused for that best of 5?
Well, I think we are already ready. We will just try our best to keep it warm and play solo queue and maybe some scrims. And, you know, we have only 1 shot, and, I mean, even if we lose, we have 1 more shot, but it's still, I want to make it without losing, so we will definitely try our best.
All right. Well, for you in general, you've had a fantastic run, and you've been with this team now for a while, for a year and a half. I would say, yeah. And it seems that this is a very strong iteration of the team or the players that you've played with. It seems that you're gelling really well. Is that a right thing to assess?
I didn't quite understand.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally messed that up, so I'll ask the question again. It seems that you guys are very strong, especially going 5-1 here in the group stage, and maybe even the strongest version of the team that we've seen so far. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is definitely our strongest year. We have Zeitnot now compared to last year, and our synergy is really good as bot lane and also as team. And I feel like this is like the strongest, this is our strongest chance to make it to Rio and play with other teams.
Right, yeah, that's what I meant as well. Thank you for that. One final question. I heard that you did something special to your hair. You had that braid on day 1 and you had it now as well. Did it help?
yeah, it kind of became a thing here. I just called it like a braid, and I kind of believe in this kind of things. For example, I have a lucky song that I listen before every game. And yeah, I will just try to believe in it and hope it will really bring me good luck.
Well, it did so far. Dash did a similar thing in All-Star, but I think yours looks a lot better, actually. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Dumbledore. Back to you guys.
Yeah, and it didn't help him that much either, did it?
Did Shocks just throw shade at me? From the Southern Hemisphere?
Hey,
are you being real? I'm going to be there in a week, Shocks. You better watch out.
I thought earlier it was the NALCS. Turns out, Shocks fired. It's actually the EULCS.
It doesn't matter. Halfway across the world, Shocks can still be fired. All right. But hey, wonderful to hear from Dumbledore about the team and how they feel this is the strongest iteration of the squad. And when we look forward, up against either TSM or the Flash Wolves, and of course, would still have an opportunity to play the loser of the opposing match, right? We talk about being only one team from each group here in Group A, Group B moving on. Well, once you make it to round 2, 3 of the 4 are going to go to the group stage, so definitely should feel confident about where they've reached at this point in the tournament.
And for Supermassive, I feel like the issues that they really need to look at for themselves are in particular around the mid lane. I feel like we've seen some underperformance, especially in the early game. But if they rectify those issues, if we can see Naru stepping up his performance, I have a lot of expectations, especially with Zeit not really having a good performance so far.
And that's an interesting thing, hearing Dumbledore talk about which team he'd rather face. Now, this isn't a comment about regional strength. This is a comment about what we have seen in the spring split. Flash Wolves have demolished international teams by using jungle and mid synergy. I haven't seen internationally that at a TSM yet.
Absolutely.
So I would prefer to face TSM because I already know the other devil and I don't want to have to deal with Caster and Maple in one series to try and get to MSI.
To the same effect, though, the last time we've seen some of these teams from the other regions play, right, patches ago. So as the metas develop, the question will be how will the team strategies have changed? And since they've had the opportunity to watch teams like Supermassive in the plane and maybe get a little info on them, it will make for a very interesting champion select on the outset of those best of 5s. Will TSM choose to stay Bjergsen and Hanser focused in the top and the mid lane, or will they go more of that 80 carry route and put their eggs in the Wild Turtle basket? We'll have to wait and see. With Group A's fate decided, let's go ahead and look at tomorrow, where one team will join Supermassive in round 2 of the play-in stage. Our day starts with Azures Gaming versus Virtus Pro, and then Lion Gaming will try to hand the Gigabyte Marines their first loss in the second game of the day. Now, those teams will brawl it out all day until one team comes out on top. Gentlemen, we have the exact same standings going into Group B's second day as we did coming into Group A's second day. So essentially the same kind of stuff can happen. How do you feel about how it might shake out, though, given Group B's relative strength?
I actually think VP might make a run through. They had a close game against Lion. It was the backdoor that did it. We've seen VP start to adapt. I still think it's close. Like, I'm not saying they're taking first place, but my dark horse in that group is going to be VP going up against the
1-2 running all the way to the finish. I'd love to see it. Possibly. It would make for an exciting day. Vidius, what about you? Do you think Gigabyte Marines have what it takes to hold on to their one-game lead, or will kind of the favorites in Lion maybe strike back and show us what they got?
That's such a difficult team to even really assess, because when you look at the Gigabyte Marines, we talked about it early on when, as a team, they don't seem to have, like, real stand-up performances. Sure, Levi and Optimus have had some great moments, but I feel like that as a team, they haven't really had the same star quality as someone like White Lotus, who's someone you really can put all your eggs into that basket. So, but they have been such a good team, and their understanding of how to work together is something that you can never underestimate. And I think that second match of the day, where they do get that rematch, is going to be really exciting and really explosive.
It's the contrast of win conditions, right? You've got one team that can win specifically through White Lotus and their 80 carry and putting resources into him, whereas the Gigabyte Marines are like, their win condition is just making decisions 100% and committing to them as a team, because that's apparently how they've won up until this point. Two very legitimate ways of winning. We'll have to see which one comes out on top on the day. But that's going to do it for day 3 here at the MSI Plans. Now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Hey, you got it.
This is going to be an exciting day, and to start it off right, we've got Rampage going against the hometown heroes of CB LOL's Red Cannons. They have to win every game today and beat Supermassive for that hope to actually make it out.
Evie's so low. Evie is gone. Yutori has to try to escape, but the root roller finds its mark. Yutori is in the ground.
Popping himself over the wall with the playful trickster.
Oh, back in to be unstoppable. And Rampage will fall yet again. the hometown champs from CB Law. Sightnut gets the auto attack, and Noru will chase down Schernfire and cut that tree out of the picture. Rampage manages to get themselves Baron Nashor, but they've already lost 3. Evi's going to be number 4. The Turkish team will go up to 5-0.
Let's see if we can get in there. There's a teleport coming in. It's Montagas. He gets it. He steals it. Napon keeps the hopes and dreams of Brazil alive. Can Napon do it twice? 2000 health goes back down. Yes, it again. Oh my goodness. Napon is a god.
Hey, we win this. We win. Walking, Fiora. Look at the lane. Speed up in 1. Nice!
Oceana have done it. They've played spoiler here against Red Cannons. Double Doge going to get locked down here by Yoda. Fabulous tries to jump.
Hey, look, don't do it!
Why did you stay in the laser, Yoda? The heals, the shields, they are enough. The Twitch is just spraying and praying with a rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat as they take down Supermassive to give the home crowd one more time a chance to cheer. Without a pushing. Oh, Ramuna, you're kidding me! What an absolute legend! Rampage look to redeem themselves. They look for revenge, not only for themselves, but for Brazil, as they take down the Direwolves.